Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Zero Check podcast. Thank you for listening. This is a Pathfinder 2 actual play podcast, and my friends and I are going to play through the newly re-released Kingmaker Adventure Path, recently updated to the second edition rule set. Say hi, fellas. Are you as hyped as I am right now?
I am.
I'm ready for this.
Extremely hyped.
Dude, we have been talking about this for like months, weeks, whatever, and yeah, really geeked. Years, whatever. Yeah, no, really excited.
Yeah, well, this is an old... This Kickstarter was around for a long time, and there's been some delays, but I can tell, I know that I've been really coy with the rules so far, but this module is probably one of the best that I've ever read, and it's like... Oh man, I think it's 20% longer than a regular 6-book module, so strap in for the next 7 years, guys. I don't know. We'll see.
Whoa.
I'm okay with this.
Well, in any event, yeah, great. My name is Mike Fessinger. I'm going to be the GM for this project. You might be asking yourself why the show is called the Zero Check. That is our house rule. We'll get to that in detail when it's time. For now, though, I think we're just going to hop right in and get started with this module. Strap in, fellas. Here we go.
We're really doing it.
I would
want to roll some dice.
Are we going to have actual play on our actual play podcast?
We are going to have some actual play on the actual play podcast.
I think we should just talk about rules all night.
I think we should.
Talk about rules?
Yeah, maybe Theorycraft.
Let's talk about the math behind +1. Let's really get into that and why that's important.
Well, let's talk about the module itself a little bit. So, we've talked about Kingmaker a little bit. We know the premise of this adventure path. There's this large swath of untamed land. You guys know that you're going to be doing an expedition out there to go in, maybe try to civilize this area. But the land is situated south of a nation called Brevoy and to the northeast of a large settlement called Pitox. And I think you can think of this.
Is there a map we can look at while you're narrating?
There is a map here. Yeah, I've got there in Roll20 for you, and a couple different maps. But the bottom line is that there are civilized areas that are kind of around this swath of land. And for various reasons, each one of these areas considers this untamed area to be stolen from them. So depending on who you're talking to, well, that belongs to us. No, that belongs to us, but that's why this land is called the Stolen Lands. Restov is a city that is at the southern tip of Brevoy that is nestled up right against the Stolen Lands.
I almost made a dick joke with Southern Tip.
Yep, I understand.
Yep. I was just waiting for somebody to say
I was holding it.
Southern tip.
Were you holding your southern tip?
Just the tip.
But Mike, is it just the tip?
It's never just the
tip. Yeah, this is going way better than it did last
Certain
time.
words Mike will never say. Tip and slot.
Slot?
Or gash.
Slot.
It was gash.
I do not say gash.
So,
Gash
no shit. I used to work with a guy named Mike Gash, and
Oh no!
he was just poor bastard.
Oh
no. Okay. You find yourselves at the back of a long line. As you look up toward the front of the line, you see a large 3-story estate. You are in Restov. You have responded to a call for heroes. Lady Jamandi Aldori has hatched a plan to settle the Stolen Lands. She has called out for various heroes to conduct various expeditions down into this untamed area. She seeks to put her authority behind you as you go forth into the Stolen Lands to claim it for yourselves with the legitimacy of Restov and Brevoy behind you. One by one, people are being led into the hall, other respondees to this call. And eventually, just the 4 of you stand outside together. And you're alone for a few moments. We focused first on the elf, standing tall, strong, muscles showing under his threadbare shirt, despite his hundreds of years wandering Galarian. We flash back, we see him during his first century, a far younger man, and a lone survivor slowly walking amongst the battlefield detritus of some unnamed war. We see him carefully pick over corpses, friend and foe, for rations and useful equipment. We see him search for his friends who undoubtedly perished in the fight. And he moves on. We see him next some years later living in a village for decades, only to see it too eventually fall to lawlessness and banditry. People he'd grown to care about left robbed and executed in the dusty streets. And again, he moves on. We see him next years later living alone in a small secluded hut in a quiet valley, and even that is taken from him when a man-made flood fills the valley and creates a lake. Finally, we just see him wander. He lives off the land. He grows older without family, friends, without a home. Having been strong enough to survive one calamity after the next, his reward, it seems, is solitude. His name is Arian Diplopodicus, but few who know him today simply call him the Deuce. Bill Beard, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing, man?
I'm fantastic, Michael. How are you?
Good. Tell us a little bit about this elf that I haven't already said.
Well, he's very, very old. He's been around a long time. He's been through some wars. He's mostly known just the hardships of life. Never really had it very good. So he's just trying to make his way forward and find a better life for himself, so he can live out his long life.
Did I say the last name right?
Yes.
Diplopodicus. I was like, okay, you got to get this right.
That is 100% correct.
Okay, well, and what's his vibe as he kind of stands around while he's waiting in line?
He's a little standoffish, a little aloof, mostly because he doesn't really try to get to know anybody, because his history with people and, friends, everybody dies. So he's just got to that point in his life where he just kind of stays away from everybody.
Yeah. Well, all right, we'll shift our attention next to a large figure wearing heavy armor, even their face totally concealed by a built-in copper-colored helmet. Their ancestry concealed this way is simply unknowable, and we hear the gears whirring softly beneath the hard exterior of this marvelous suit. Any reasonable observer would know that this armor was created not through traditional blacksmithing, but rather through the efforts of a technological genius. And we see visions of this figure, now only one day prior, unarmored. He's only an ordinary human. He appears of no particular import. He works alone late into the night, painstakingly creates each component of his armor with absolute precision. And now we look further back into his past as he, now just a young boy, secretly watches as his father, a tinkerer just like himself, and his mother, the polar opposite of a tinkerer, argue quietly in the dim candlelight. His father says, "Just don't go. You don't have to do this again. Just stay here with us." His mother makes no immediate reply. She picks up and she sheathes her two-pronged sword, and she turns to leave the small cottage. She faces the boy's father before leaving. "You tell my son what I do for him." She exits into the cold night, and the boy, he never sees her again. And now we return to the present, and we see a similar two-pronged sword sheathed at the hip of the armored man. His name is Mitchell Groning. Brad Jarrett, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Mike. Glad to be here.
Good. Well, let's see. Tell us a little bit more about this guy.
Yeah. So, Mitch is, not to say born with a silver spoon in his butt, but is, grew up well-to-do, quiet, kind of stays to himself. As he's standing here, I guess you would probably just see him not really reacting to the crowd at all, but just staring at things. One thing, moving on to the next, looking at something else, moving on.
Is he a nerd, Brad?
He is a nerd.
I mean, he's obviously, I think,
Galarian's version of a nerd, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the Inventor class, Guns and Gears. It's a great book. I've looked at this a little bit, not as much as you have, and I'm really excited to have an Inventor in the game. So good choice. Let's see here. And again, so he's just kind of standing off to the side, again, not really talking, kind of the same as this elf too.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that there's a kind of a, awkward silence maybe developing here at the back of the line.
I don't know if Mitch, and he actually goes by Mitchell, unless you know him really well. But he probably wouldn't even, he knows there's people around him, but they're just another part of the puzzle that's around him.
Okay. Next, among the figures standing outside the hall, is an Uruxi, or what most would call a lizard folk. He appears young at first glance until you look into his eyes. They betray the fact that this individual carries not only an old soul, but responsibility, trauma, and maybe a desire for revenge. As a child, his life was peaceful, living near the outskirts of Brevoy with his father, his mother, and his 2 younger brothers. His parents, skilled hunters and rangers, often worked as guides for Brevoy nobles who ventured into the wilderness beyond on superfluous hunting trips. Unbeknownst to them, as the peaceful family ranged further and further south, their danger only grew. Now, we see the morning that it happened. His father, having left the campsite earlier that morning, rushed out of the brush quickly toward his 3 sons. Bandits, led by an insane man who wears antlers. Hide in the woods, don't come out till we come for you. He turns to his eldest, take care of your brothers. And with that, rushing back toward the danger, his father was gone. The sounds of the skirmish are loud, but ambiguous. Hours later, after hearing nothing, the child, the eldest of the 3, ventures out of hiding only to find the bodies of his parents nearby. Time passes. Living far from civilization and raising his brothers, he attains harmony with nature, and his power begins to grow. With his brothers now old enough to care for themselves, the Uruxi desires to travel south once again to find and face his parents' killer, the man who wears the antlers. The Uruxi's name? Bashk Trand. Donnie, how you doing, man? Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, guys. This is, I'm really excited. This is, me and Bashk are ready to get going, man. This is going to be fun.
Now, let's see. You're kind of our new guy.
I am. I'm the new guy.
We have fooled you into doing this with us, but we're glad you're here. And, I'd say you're a little bit newer to Pathfinder 2 as well. What are your thoughts on the system so far?
Well, I don't have anything to compare it to. So I have literally never played any kind of tabletop RPGs up until November of last year.
I'm jealous.
And just fell into it. And, it's like the greatest thing ever. I just kick myself that I didn't start playing like 2 decades ago. But yeah, no, 2E, I've listened to some stuff on 1E, different things, and 2E is, it's just a blast. There's just so much you can do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm more than a little jealous that you got to really work on this rule system first. I share your opinion that it's just really good. So, Lizard Folk out for revenge. Has he joined the chorus of the awkward silence with the others, or is he? What's he doing?
He's a little bit more outgoing. I mean, obviously he's Uruxi are not the not a lot of us around in Brevoy, so he kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But at the same time, he heard this this call that we're going to go settle the stolen lands. He knows, he's heard from people coming back and forth through his his farm when he's keeping his brothers that this guy that he's looking for, that he's been waiting patiently, right, for his brothers to get to age, are there. And so he's kind of talking to people. He's like, hey, are you you need a scout? I know the area pretty well. Like he's looking to find a party that can kind of get him out there and help him. So I think he's being a little bit more outgoing than some of the others that we've met.
Well, look, I mean, this is something I think you and I have talked about a little bit already, but I think the location of this disaster is in the stolen land somewhere. You might not remember it. It's been a long time now, but you might always be looking for the scene of the crime.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This was definitely an Uncle Owen and Aunt Veru. We walk back, and it's not a good deal, and it has definitely haunted him. Uruxi are really close to their ancestors and their people, and so some bad shit happened, and maybe we'll get into that at some point. But just really jazzed.
It probably won't come up. Finally, we focus on the other human, barely 21 years old. Long black hair and pale complexion, standing self-assured and at ease amongst these strangers. He displays an air of nobility, although there are cracks in the veneer that he may or may not be aware of. As we've done with the others, we now flash back to his childhood, living amongst his father and his 2 much older brothers. He's told that he lives in a family of nobles, but he wonders why he and his family are treated only as common merchants. His father and his brothers travel often, and they often leave the boy unsupervised for weeks at a time while he explores his family's estate in Brevoy. We look further now into his past, seeing flashes of his birth, in which fiery magics were used to violently clutch his newborn life away from oblivion. Today, shrouded in mystery, the blood in his veins touched by the primal powers invoked during his birth, and sharing a last name with the current king of Brevoy, this young man's name is Sirio Xavier Sertova. Chris Bergman, welcome to the podcast. How you doing, man?
Doing good, man. Glad to be playing Pathfinder.
Tell us a little bit about Sirio now that we're here.
For Kingmaker, I'll be playing Sirio Xavier Sertova, a human sorcerer with the Phoenix bloodline. My character gets his power directly from magical energy that surrounds the interesting and strange events from his past. Kind of like a magic osmosis, he absorbs the magic and can later manifest it directly as spells. The main reason he's adventuring is to better understand how he's able to absorb and later use this magic, and he also wants to find out if he's really a Sertova. Many of his father's boastful claims cast a lot of doubt about the whole nobility thing, and he wants to figure out if it's true or not.
Yeah, he's the third son of a noble, which I think puts him pretty far down the line for any inheritance.
Pretty far. It's either go out adventuring, join the army, join a religious order, but we're trying the adventuring path.
All right. We've been kind of coy with the class composition. I think we got some pretty big hints, but I don't mind if we just sort of say what we're playing. I told you guys to kind of keep it a secret from each other so that you could react to each other a little bit as this was all getting started. I think you might be able to infer that Sirio is a sorcerer, having, had some of those, have the magic imparted to him, during his birth. Bill, you're playing a fighter, right?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the spec so far? What kind of fighter are you doing?
Well, I'm an ancient elf, which means I'm extremely old. So I'm playing a fighter/ranger. I like the build that I came up with, and with your help, of course. And I feel like he's going to be an awesome character to play.
Yeah, Bill took the ancient elf heritage out of APG that lets him take a ranger archetype at level 1. I'd forgotten that existed, and I was like, okay. So yeah, you're kind of holding two classes right now. Of course, Brad is an inventor, and Bashk Trand is a druid, which I don't think we've had a lot of druids in our games before.
Oh. Yeah.
What kind of druid is Bashk?
He is a animal order druid. So, yeah, he's I've never played a druid before in like any kind of fantasy games at all. So, kind of looking to dig into the whole like one with nature and you can't use metal and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it should be fun and maybe some surprises along the way and new things to learn.
I'm really interested to see how that works with druid and inventor. Like those are polar opposites ideology, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, you're all about the technology and civilization, and I'm all about nature. And yeah, the odd couple out adventuring.
This will be fun.
Picture you guys giving each other the
giving the eyes
as you're standing outside. So it is early spring. It's beautiful outside. Beautiful. There's this cool breeze. Mitch, I think, feels it especially against his helmet. The breeze. The trees are flowering all around you. It's nice green outside. It's late in the afternoon. Okay, it's like 6 o'clock or something. And again, you've all come here for this feast, this meeting of all of these different adventurers that Lady Jamandi Aldori is going to dispatch out into the Stolen Lands. A little on her, she is a wealthy and influential sword lord of the city of Rostov, where you are right now. And as the evening begins, you have answered Lady Jamandi's call for heroes, and you've arrived at her impressive hilltop manor. A cobblestone path bordered by regal oak trees and well-manicured hedges winds its way up the hill for nearly a mile, past a 2-story guard barracks, the stables, and a dozen thatched-roof cottages that house the families of the manor's servants and retainers. The manor itself is a sprawling 3-story structure constructed of light gray mortared stone, surrounded by hedge-lined rose gardens and ancient oak trees. Finally, it is your turn to enter. You are ushered in to this great hall, the 4 of you. Now in the back, it's sort of like when you reported late to a college lecture, and there's only a couple seats open, and you're standing around like, oh, I hope nobody looks at me as I have to sit in late. You see that this spacious hall has been prepared for a great feast. Servants hustle and bustle about, while several armed soldiers, Lady Jamandi's house guards, watch over the hall from their positions against the east and west walls. To the north, the fire crackles away in a large fireplace. An iron lever secured by a lock adorns the fireplace's eastern face. 2 massive crystal chandeliers hang from the ceiling 20 feet above. The walls are decorated with painted murals of woodland scenes, nymphs frolicking amid waterfalls, satyrs dancing with fauns in wooded glades, and various winged fairy creatures flitting through the trees. 9 long tables are arranged around the central portion of the room, each holding plates, utensils, mugs, goblets, and full, ready to be poured pitchers of ale, wine, mead, and water. The smell of roasted meat and other delicious scents fill the room, yet no food has yet to be served. Do you guys want to see a map?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Please.
I like maps.
Are you into this? You want to see this map? Okay. Boom. There it is.
Kingmaker content.
Here we are. So look, you see here there's a bunch of tables. You see there's this head table up in the north of the room. You guys should be able to move your tokens around. Can you move them?
Look at that.
Yes.
And the Deuce is loose.
Bill, how long you been waiting to say that?
That just seriously just popped in my head.
Excellent.
Nice job, Chris. Take a
And
seat.
I guess this is a good time to point out that Bashk has an animal companion, a crocodile. Tell us about this crocodile that's now on the map and apparently walking around in the Great Hall of Jamandi Aldori.
I was actually going to leave him in surprise, folks, but So before Bashk left, his youngest brother gave him a parting gift to take with him, and it was this young crocodile that he named Dundee. So
Dundee.
He's gonna Dundee the crocodile. He's gonna be joining us on our adventure. So and I'm sure Mike will not kill him at his first opportunity.
Yeah.
No.
What's the over-under on 2 episodes?
All right, so we see here this map. You see all these tables depicted here. Now, on the map, there are some NPCs that show up. There are some tables that are totally blank, but I got news for you. The tables that are totally blank right now have all of their seats filled. So, actually, you guys are going to have to fill in around this table here with all of these NPCs that are on this map. So please pick a seat. I'm sure it's not going to be important at some point, the particular seat that you pick in this moment right now. Okay, so you sit down amongst these strangers. You have just a couple moments to pour yourself a drink, if that's what you're into, before Lady Jamandi Aldori herself enters the room and sits down at the head table, followed shortly after by this aristocrat man, and the two of them sit down, and everyone in the room raises their glasses and cheers, "Yeah, oh my God, thank you for the treats and then everything." And she's like, gentlemen, no, put your glasses down. Ladies too. Oh, come on. This isn't a big deal." She's a striking half-elf woman, and the man with her is a middle-aged human man. The man wears finely tailored clothing, fit for a noble, while the woman appears dressed for battle. She wears a fine leather coat over a sparkling mail shirt, and at her waist hangs a badass Aldori dueling sword with a bright silver pommel. The two make their way to the head table, where they remain standing. The man speaks first. "Greetings, heroes. I am Yosef Selamius, Lord Mayor of Restov, and this," he gestures to the woman beside him, "is Lady Jamandi Aldori. We both thank you for answering her call for heroes. You may be few, but we need only the best for this great task." Lady Jamandi offers the room a broad smile before she speaks. "South of here, beyond Brevoy's border, lie the stolen lands. This disputed territory has been claimed time and again by would-be settlers, but because the area has been a haven for bandits and monsters, it has never been held for long. But Restov intends for this to change. If you have enough courage to drive off the dangerous denizens of the stolen lands, you can seize territory for yourselves and name yourselves baronesses or barons. Restov intends to recognize the legitimacy of the new rulers of this land, and none of the other neighboring realms care enough to challenge you. We are prepared to provide backing as a trade partner and a military ally. If you claim the land, you will have my, indeed all of Restov's, support." Lady Jamandi raises her goblet, But the details of your individual missions and charters into the Stolen Lands can wait. I raise my glass now to you, brave heroes. For now, let us eat, and let us enjoy this evening. Tomorrow promises to be a very busy day.
I'll drink to that. I'll clink my glass to, the dudes right next to me.
Huzzah!
Woo! Let's see. Let's talk about who you're seated next to. I see that Sirio is here. To Sirio's right appears to be a gnomish caster of some sort. His name is Tartuccio. He's been really into things too, raising his glass. He's got this sweet little beard. Across from Tartuccio seems to be this really good-looking, kind of salt and pepper haired man named Mager. And then right across from Sirio is a halfling bard-looking type person. She's got a lute, and she's got this diary open, and she's furiously writing into it. We look next at Mitch. Across from Mitch seems to be this abnormally beautiful, armored woman. It's hard to not look at her, how beautiful she is. But if you look at her, she looks straight back at you until you stop. She does not seem really to be... she doesn't seem into the attention, so to speak. Of course, to Mitchell's left appears to be kind of a barbarian woman who is loudly kind of like, "Where's the meat? What's going on here? I'm just here to fight." You know, she's just kind of like, "Oh my God, who are those upstairs up there?" You know, meanwhile, we've got the Deuce, who's kind of sat near the back. He's seated next to a dwarf who appears to be some kind of cleric. He's got a holy symbol that he has out hanging around his neck. And across from the Deuce is an elvish woman, long black hair, skin the color of porcelain, who herself seems quite reserved. Now, I know you guys are really excited about Kingmaker and everything, and you probably want to do some adventuring and some exploration, but I thought that a networking meeting might really be the most fun that we could have in this very first episode.
See, I thought this is like a Thunderdome situation.
Yeah, real rumble
It's
going on.
about to be a Thunderdome situation.
I'll know good. Are we going to play?
You wear a name tag?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are we going to have a team building game? Like, are we going to have like a trust ball and
Maybe
that kind of thing?
Maybe.
I missed the name badge table when I came into this hall.
Yeah.
I just picked a seat. I didn't see a little card with my name on it. I just took a seat.
Well, now look. This is going to be the influence rules from the Game Mastery Guide. This is your opportunity to get to know some of these characters, to build relationships with them, and to see if you guys are friends or foes or whatever. And you look around you and you notice that everyone at all these other tables, they're all kind of sizing each other up as well. Because, I don't know if this has been clear so far, but there are going to be multiple expeditions out into the Stolen Lands. You guys aren't going to be the only team out there, if you end up being a team at all. However, as things get going, something really interesting happens. At least interesting to me. I need Mitchell, I should say, to roll a perception check.
Oh, God.
Mitchell and Mitchell alone. The first roll of the podcast. Here we go.
God. All right.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's a natural 15 on the dice, so that's an 18 perception.
There you go.
Mitchell? Do you prefer Mitch or
You can
Mitchell?
call me Mitch, but if
call
I'm
you
just
Mitch.
meeting you, you probably should stick with Mitchell.
Mitch, something weird happens. We kind of have this interesting clash of worlds. You look behind you almost instinctually to see a very familiar man walking out of this door into the room. It takes you a moment, just because the context is so weird. It's your dad, dude. Your dad, your father, Chuck Charles Groening, is also here.
Wasn't Charles Groening one of the creators of The Simpsons? No, that was Matt Groening. Sorry.
Matt Groening.
Groening.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've only read the name.
You see him stride across, and he sits down across from another one of these adventurers, and the two begin to talk in earnest. You stand there, you look at him for a moment, and then you see him looking at you, and all of a sudden, he sees you as well, and his eyes go wide, and he holds his hands out like, What are you doing here? And he mouths that to you. What are you doing here? What do you do?
Yeah, so when he walks in and Mitchell sees him, he tries to, and it's comical because he tries to shrink down and be smaller, but he's wearing this giant suit of armor, so it's just like his head goes turtles a little bit. Just instinctual child seeing his dad, and he's somewhere where he's not supposed to be. So
Mitch is not supposed to be here?
he did not talk to his dad about this. Like, he works for the same company his dad does, and this call to adventure was kind of Mitchell, kind of outside of his normal ideas. So he was going to go and check it out and let's see what this is all about. And definitely did not expect Dad to show up right now.
Your dad?
Yeah,
it's your dad, dude.
Like, we've got a good relationship, but yeah, Mitchell is not supposed to be here right now.
Well, look, and your dad, Chuck, or Charles, as we call him, seems to be splitting his attention a little bit too, just the way that you might be, because he's talking to this guy who's across from way at the other end of this room, and he makes this motion to you like later, and kind of gives you this look like, what are the odds? And he begins talking to these guys in earnest here a little bit. What will follow now is a 2-hour encounter where you guys will have the opportunity to get to know some of these characters using the influence subsystem from the Game Mastery Guide. So you've got all these NPCs around you. They all begin talking. Every 15 minutes, you guys get to pick something that you want to do and do it. This is going to be kind of a skill-based thing. Have you guys had a chance to look at these rules? Do you want me to go over them real quick?
Briefly, if you want to just give a quick recap.
Sure. So, look, basically there are one of two actions you can take during one of these 15-minute periods. You can attempt to influence one of these NPCs through making a skill check. You're not sure what that skill check might be. You can make some educated guesses based on what you might know about them. Rather than immediately attempting a check, you could take a moment and just size them up with the discover action. That is your second possibility. You could make a perception check or something, or again, if you think that there's another skill that you might use or rely upon to suss out a little bit about these NPCs as they all interact with each other, you can do that as well. So let's just go down the list here a little bit and start thinking about this. Let's take a look at the Deuce. Bill, what's your deal here, man? What are you doing over this first 15 minutes? Are you sizing people up?
I'm the elf sitting across from me. I'm gonna, I'm just sizing her up, taking a look around, checking out what she's wearing, see if I can tell where she's from by her, what she's wearing, what she has on, looking at her elf heritage, seeing if what tribe she's from, and just trying to figure out who she is.
Yeah, man. Yeah, make a perception check, or if there's another skill, use that.
What about elf lore?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a hot 9.
What's the total? The total is 9?
No, that is 9. I rolled a 5. So I apparently didn't pick anything up that I was trying to pick up from her.
With a total of a 9, first thing you learn is her name. Her name is Jathel. You see that she is really doing the same thing as you are. She's not talking. She's kind of got her face in her drink. What I will tell you is that you don't really glean anything about her that you might use to interact with her. You're not sure what she's into. You're not sure what she might like or not like. But what I will tell you is that her skin is so pale, it is unnatural to you. You can't put your finger on it, but it is strange. You spend this moment sitting across from her, much like many dates that I had, earlier in my life. Just nothing going on, just sitting there. Bashk Trand, sitting across from this barbarian next to this other beautiful armored woman. But you can interact with anyone at the table, so don't let your position limit you. What do you want to do, Doug?
Yeah, honestly, I think what Bash does first is, he looks to his left, and the person sitting there in the armor, excuse me, ma'am, I hope my crocodile's not bothering you, since the crocodile is right behind him on the floor. Sure. But I think he's going to try to, he wants to size her up a little bit. She, he kind of saw the interaction earlier where she was willing to have a staring contest with some dude that's decked out like Iron Man, and so he's a little intrigued by that. So what would you like me to roll there? Perception check?
Well, let's see. Yeah, you can go with perception, or if you think there might be another skill you could use, you could explain to me why. Or, again, just go perception. That's fine, of course.
Yeah, I think perception's going to be my best bet here. So let's...
Okay.
Let's roll this guy. How about a total of 24? 17 on the die.
Yeah, so this is Valerie. And Valerie, you learn a couple things about her. You get the feeling that she is from Rostov. She's a local. She is absolutely the fighter class. Okay? She looks like a badass. You notice she's got this huge shield here, okay? You get the feeling that diplomacy skills, acting properly and impressing her with decorum is probably a way to make friends with this person. Warfare lore checks, probably to discuss tactics and fighting, might be a really good bet. Society, to speak pleasantly. But you know what? I'm actually already misapplying the rules. Can you believe this? Okay, so you said a 19, or was that a 29?
I rolled a 24 total.
24.
Yeah.
Okay. So, not quite a crit success, but a success nonetheless. So, let me go ahead and actually do this the right way, because I think if anyone listens to this, they're already going to be pulling their hair out. So, on a success, you get to choose one of the following, okay? I've kind of already given this away to you a little bit, but you can make a choice and gain a little bit more already beyond what I've told you. You can learn a skill that can influence the NPC, which has the lowest difficulty class. Or you can learn one of the NPC's personal biases, or you can learn one of the NPC's resistances, things that they hate and you should not do around this person. Or you can learn one of the NPC's social weaknesses, things they love that you can use to flatter them. So would you like a low DC skill to influence this person? Would you like a bias, a resistance, or a weakness? I've never been more excited in my life than right now.
I'm actually curious the lowest DC.
Okay.
What did we say your name was? Valerie?
Valerie.
Valerie.
Yeah. Valerie. Valerie, definitely good old-fashioned diplomacy. DC 13 diplomacy checks on subsequent rounds can earn favor with this NPC. Okay. Mitchell.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, so Mitchell, kind of staring around, spies this guy sitting at the end of the table, or the head of the table, closer to the royalty. Good-looking fellow. Thinks he recognizes
Or the dude in
him.
black?
Yeah, guy in black. Thinks he recognizes him from around town.
Make a society check. Or a perception check.
I will do a society check.
Okay.
There's a 5 on the die for a total of 12.
You know what? It's enough, because this guy's kind of famous. This is Maegar Varn. Maegar Varn. You know a little bit about this guy. First of all, you know that he is a third-born son. You don't know much about Sirio at this point, but we, the players, know that Sirio and Maegar have this in common. You know that Maegar is also from Rostov, and also a third-born son, is in no position to inherit anything. You think to yourselves, oh, this guy needs to go on the Call of Heroes if he's ever going to have a piece of land. Maegar, so you discover that about him, but also you get the same array of choices that Donnie just had. You can take the lowest DC skill to influence him. You can take one of his biases, one of his resistances, or one of his weaknesses.
I'll take a weakness.
Okay. You know that Maegar, let's see here. You know that Maegar is a keen student of history, and that anyone can use Brevoy lore, heraldry lore, politics lore, or warfare lore to influence him, if they do so by talking about a historical topic. If you can succeed on one of those checks, all of his checks go down for subsequent rounds as you make fast friends with him.
Gotcha.
Finally, Sirio, sorcerer. Maybe the face of the party? I don't know. Man, you're sitting around, you got this halfling in front of you, this gnome to your right. What do you do?
So yeah, I'm kind of up here at the table closest to Jamandi and Yosef, but I see kind of two little people, one across from me and one to my right. The gnome to my right, I get the feeling he's kind of a spellcaster type looking guy.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to me. I'm just going to kind of observe him over this 15 minutes and try to discover stuff about him.
Okay, sure. Yeah. again, perception, or if you have another skill you want to use, go for it.
Yeah, well, I haven't started talking to him yet, so we'll just do a perception.
Go for it.
Oh no, that's a natural 1. So,
there it is.
We're tracking those.
Seven total.
We're tracking those. I think that might be a failure. And let's see here. I'll tell you what, man. I better look at the rule here because that's a crit fail.
Does he catch you
Well,
staring
it's a
at his
skill
crotch?
check,
Or,
so-
Yeah, you just give him
just
like
gonna-
the 1,000-yard stare right at him.
I'm just gonna read the rule to you. On a critical failure, choose a piece of information to learn about as success, but that information is incorrect.
Oh,
So you can crit fail on these.
I guess so. Yeah. So you know what I'm going to tell you. I mean, we're just kind of having fun here a little bit, but Sirio gets the distinct impression that Tartuccio, let's see, Tartuccio really likes it when other people assert their superiority over him. He just can't get enough of that. You get the feeling that Tartuccio is just looking for someone to lead him. What do you think about that? So
Sounds good to me.
play it as you will there, Chris.
That's right up my alley.
All right, let's move back. We are now in our second of 6 rounds. This is going to pick up and move a little bit faster here. Bill, let's take it back to the Deuce. What do you do?
I'm going to look over at the dwarf cleric,
Yeah.
and I'm going to kind of be like, hey, how's it going? And I'm going to have a memory of a dwarf cleric that I met on the road, him and his brother, outside of a logging camp in my many, many travels.
A little inside joke for us, but that's wonderful, man.
And then I'm just going to observe and just trying to see if I can just, figure out the deity and, again, where the dwarf is from and just stuff like that. So I'm going to go with perception.
Sure. Or if you go religion, I can give you the deity.
We're not going to do that.
come on, live a little bit.
All right, go perception.
That is a 20.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
it's a 14
man.
plus 6.
Cool. This guy's name is Harim. Harry with an M on the end. Harim. I will give you the deity here because, and I'll tell you what, I want you to make a religion check just without any time passing, just to see if you know anything about this deity. Because
18.
you see, I'm sorry?
18 on the religion check.
This is Gratus, the deity Gratus. And you know who Gratus is, and as you look at Harim and see that he is worshiping Gratus over there, you're like, oh, great. Because Gratus's whole deal
see what you did there.
is like, the end is nigh. The world is ending soon, and we have to let everybody know. And you get the feeling that Gratus, and not Gratus, but Harim, is a bit of a doomer. And in fact, he turns to you and he's like, yes, the end is coming, We have to be ready. We have to do as much good as we can do for now while we are here, because soon we will not be here. What do you think about that, Mr. Elf?
I'm going to state that I've been around for hundreds of years, and I don't think the end is coming anytime soon.
Yeah. You know that greatest lore, well, let's see here. Let's stay back in the rules here. So you have discovered something about him. You can pick a low DC skill to influence this guy, one of his biases, one of his resistances, or one of his
DC
weaknesses.
skill.
The low DC skill. The lowest thing that you can do is greatest lore, but obviously I'm not going to just have you stick to that one because I don't know how many of you guys would have greatest lore.
I took that.
You did.
Yeah,
You took
I
greatest lore.
Yeah.
Did you really?
Look, religion checks, DC 17, really effective in talking to this guy.
Oh, jeez. Another one? I got to pass 2 of these.
Oh, yeah. Bashk Trand, having learned a little bit about Valerie to your left, what do you do?
Yeah, so I think now he's gonna look across the table at. Did we say it's who do we say sitting across the table from Bash?
Looks to be a barbarian.
A barbarian. So yeah, I think he looks across the table and is just like, hi, you come here often, and he's just gonna try to observe her a little bit.
Sure.
So let's give another perception check on that,
All right.
and that one is gonna be rolled off. A total of 15.
Okay. Yeah, you pass your discovery check. What do you want to know about her? Her name, by the way, is Amiri.
Amiri. Let's do a Let's do the lowest DC again on this.
Okay. Yeah, you know that Amiri, a DC 13 athletics check to physically impress her would be really effective.
There you go.
DC 13, not too bad.
Man.
Okay. Mitchell.
Mitchell's kind of sorted out who's sitting at the end of the table there. He's going to look across the table, and he's going to study this armor-clad person's kind of the buckles, kind of the connections of the armor. Just like, wow, that looks like pretty quality work. I wonder if she had that done.
Sure. Okay, yeah. So perception check then on Valerie.
Perception. Oh, that's a natural 20. So 23.
Oh my God, you get 2 pieces of information on Valerie. Now we've already talked about. Let's see. Did we have a failure on Valerie last time? I can't remember. I think we had a success on her. Oh, that's right. You know the diplomacy is very effective in influencing Valerie. What else do you want to know? Resistance or weakness or something like that?
Let's go with the resistance.
Okay. Look, if she suspects that you can tell that she hates the deity Shaylin.
Oh,
God. If any of you worship Shaylin, she seems to shy away from references to Shaylin. And you get another piece of information. Something effective against her or anything else.
What's effective?
She loves displays of honor and lawfulness. And anyone who strikes her as particularly honorable or lawful, including anyone openly wearing a religious symbol of a lawful good or lawful neutral deity, would gain a +2 circumstance bonus on checks made to influence her. Okay. Sirio.
Well, now that I know a little bit about one of these smaller guys,
now that you really got Tartuccio figured out.
Yeah, I got him all figured out. So we'll deal with him later in the evening after we've probably had a couple rounds. Might challenge him to a game of something that I'm better at than him. So yeah, looking across the table, she's carrying what instrument was she holding?
She's got a lute.
Yeah, so I asked her like what her favorite song is.
All right, what skill do you want to roll to try to influence?
Can I use a diplomacy to try to influence?
Make the diplomacy check.
Rolled a 15, add 7, got 22 total.
That is a success. You have gained an influence point with Lindsay. And she becomes friendly toward you. And she looks at you and she's like, "What's your name? What's your name, mister? What are you doing here? Tell me your story."
My name is Sirio Xavier Sertova, and I put a lot of emphasis on the last name. And kind of look at her, see if I get any reaction from that.
She says, as in King Sertova? Are you related to him? And she begins writing in her book.
Absolutely related. It's a distant relation, but yeah, we share the same blood.
You turn to your right, and Tartuccio is shooting daggers into you as you claim that you. I mean, it's your name, right? He looks at you and then looks back and begins talking with Mager Varn again. And Lindsay just goes, "I'm Lindsay, bard, from Galt. A lot of time wandering, but I'm looking for friends. I'm looking for companionship as we delve down into the stolen lands. I'm looking for a story to write down. Something that we can all be remembered by. Might like to write your story someday," she says to you.
Well, if you follow us, you'll have plenty to write about.
She says, "I bet." Give yourself an influence point with Lindsay. The more you get, the more cool things happen. The Deuce. What are we doing next, man? We're 3 of 6 right now. This is round 3.
The Deuce. He's gonna try with the elf again.
Yeah,
He's gonna be like, "Yo, girl.
Yo, girl.
Yo, girl. What you doing? What's your name?" No, he's just gonna.
Jathel. Yeah.
He's just gonna look across and just start talking to her.
Okay.
Like,
what's the skill you're gonna roll?
And then I'm just gonna roll another elf lore check.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm an elf. She's an elf. I gotta know something.
Yeah, go for it.
That's way better. That's a 25.
Okay. Yeah, you look back at her. I think you know a little bit about Jathel now. In fact, you know that Jathel is evil. You know that Jathel, she's older than you. And you know that she's been into some nasty, evil stuff. But then you're a little perplexed because you heard Jathel was dead, executed by her followers who eventually turned on her after too many misdeeds. And then you look back at her and you think to yourself, this isn't really her, though. She doesn't seem so bad now. I would never have guessed I would be sitting in the room with Jathel. And then you look down and you see the truth, which is that she did die. And the woman who's sitting before you right now is undead.
I was going to say, can I reach out and touch her?
Oh my god.
You can try.
I'm just going to reach out and touch her hand.
It is cold, and she draws it away quickly, and she says, "What is this? Who are you?"
It's your hand. Can you not feel it?
She's like, "Out with it."
I was just wondering. You look a little weird, so I just wanted to grab a touch.
And she says, "And?"
Look a little weird.
You're very cold. The Deuce just stares at her, just trying to figure it out.
Now, you originally rolled this to discover more about her, right? Or
Yes.
were you trying to influence? You wanted to discover. Okay.
I wanted to discover.
Well, after that awkward interaction, you know you want something low DC for
Yeah.
Jathel.
Yeah.
An intimidation check to impress her with your fearsome nature. DC 15 intimidation is all it takes to get an influence point with Jathel. But what I will tell you is that after that interaction, the Deuce may be at a little bit of a disadvantage, but you might be able to turn it around, man.
It's an 18.
Sorry, I was talking over somebody. What was that?
That was me. I just rolled that intimidation check.
Oh, you're going to have to wait to do it next round.
Damn it. All right. Good.
Bashk.
Yeah, so I just want to back up just a couple clicks, if you don't mind. Of course. My understanding is we have a former cult leader at the end of the table that is now undead. Just want to make sure I've got that. Okay, just want to make sure my notes are up to
That does
date.
appear to be the case.
Who had followers? I don't know how many followers, but I mean, anyone with followers got to be a big fucking deal.
I mean, it's horrible. It wasn't
clarify if any
follower.
of us are like lawful good right now, because this could get messy.
If anybody's lawfully good, then that's an instant reaction.
I mean, we got good old Valerie here, so
We got a cleric.
Yeah,
next
she's
to us,
probably
too.
a champion.
Got to be honest, weirdest team meeting I've ever been in, guys. So,
I get that.
so yeah,
Editing
so
this is going to be a nightmare. I'm sorry, keep going.
yeah, first dungeon, roll for initiative. So yeah, I think now he's going to look back over at Amiri, right? And I think he's gonna pull the old kind of does the old, hey, you know which way the gun show is, right? To do the athletics thing, right? Kind of flexes a little bit. Try to impress her here a little bit.
All right.
Exactly.
Go for it, man.
Let's roll an athletics check. And how about no, that's terrible. How about a total of 8?
Oh, no.
I don't think I impressed her.
No, that is a failure. She's like, "You are puny. What are you wearing?"
Wow.
My God. It's like 2 limp noodles.
Is that a new voice?
Ouch.
Yes, that's her voice. Yeah, this is Amiri. She's like, "What are you doing?
Oh, it's voice number 4.
That makes no sense to me, what you've just
Mike
done."
is grown.
That's right. Yeah, I've worked very hard on this, preparing this social encounter. "You are a puny one, and I have no desire to know you," she says. Good job, Bashk. Hey, Mitchell, it's your turn.
Mitchell sees that whole interaction and just kind of gets a smirk, like half of his lip raises a little bit, stands up and tries to lift the table.
Okay.
So athletics.
DC 13.
That's an 18 on the die, so that is
Oh,
a total
no.
of 24.
24 crit success on an influence check with Amiri. Did you just become best friends with Amiri the Barbarian?
May have just happened.
I think so. And you do. You lift the table up. Frickin' Sirio's falling over. Tartuccio falls to the ground. Mager's like, "What is going on?" Lindsay breaks her lute and gets knocked aside, and Valerie rolls her eyes. And Amiri is just like, "What are you wearing? That's amazing." And yeah, she just becomes very friendly toward you. She's like clapping you on the back. She hits you on the back of your like metal, suit of crazy armor, and it like hurts her hand. And she's like, "Oh, that's amazing!" And she's like whipping her hand around, like, "I can't believe this." Give yourself 2 influence points with Amiri. Good job. Let me make sure I just did that right. Let's see, influence, crit success. 2 influence points with the chosen NPC. Yes, so we have 1 influence point so far with, let's see, who got in? Oh yeah, we have Valerie, 1 influence point with Valerie, and 2 with Amiri right now. Do I have that right? I hope someone's keeping track
no,
of this.
one with Lindsay.
I'm just
1
writing
with Lindsay,
my own.
that's right. 1 with Lindsay, 2 with Amiri. Okay, good job, Mitchell. Sirio, you're up.
So kind of this third guy, kind of catty-corner to be Mager.
Mager Varn.
I recognize him, but I'm not sure from where.
Okay.
So I'm going to start chatting him up.
Okay.
And I'm going to just kind of feign ignorance at this point with him.
Okay. Yeah, are you going to roll diplomacy or something, or what are you doing?
I'm going to use a deception check to try to discover something about him.
Okay, give it a roll.
Rolled a 14 on the die, add in 7, 21 total.
Okay.
Nice.
Are you trying to discover or influence right now?
Discover.
Okay. Yeah, so you know a lot of what, I think it was Mitchell knows about Mager Varn. You know, just like yourself, he's a third-born noble. You know that his family is powerful and well-established, the Varns. You've heard a little bit about Mager himself. You know that Mager is going to be the leader of one of these expeditions. You wouldn't expect to be traveling with him. You know that he's got his own people that are probably going to accompany him. You know that Mager is a close friend of Jamandi Aldori, and very likely through family connections got an invite to this and scored his own expedition. As far as influence skills for Mager, would you like a low DC, or would you like one of his biases or weaknesses or resistances?
Let's do a resistance.
Okay. You know that Mager, as a low-ranking sword lord, cannot abide anyone bad-mouthing the Aldoris or Restov itself. If you do that in front of Mager, he will never be your friend. You will never be able to influence him.
Good to know.
Round 4, the Deuce. Back to you, back here at the back of the bus, with Harim and Jathel, the cleric of Groitus, and or Greatus, and the undead cult leader who was murdered and now appears to be undead and back. What do you do?
I'm going to roll that intimidation check for influence.
On Jathel, all right.
That's a 2 on the dice.
We're either hot or we're not.
Yeah, that's a 5 altogether. So
no.
That's a 5. So I don't think I'm intimidating anybody.
No, that's a critical failure.
Tell me some lies.
You lose an influence point with Jathel and go, I guess, to -1 influence, I'm going to say.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we go negative
As
on
if the
influence?
creepy hand
That's
touch wasn't enough.
Yeah, so
right.
the Deuce
Creepy
grabs
hand.
her hand and then tries to intimidate her.
The Deuce, what do you say to Jathel during this horrible influence attempt?
I'm just going to stare at her as mean as I possibly can, which apparently isn't that mean. And I'm just going to demand she tells me what happened. And she's just going to completely ignore me.
I need to know what you say specifically. Do you just say what happened to you? Do you tell her you were dead? Something like this?
Be like, you undead heathen. Tell me what has happened.
You call her an undead heathen.
I'm intimidating.
That's true. With the failure, here's
I'm
what
gonna get
happens.
Stabbed.
Worse or better, depending. Jathel looks at you. She looks around at the others who might have overheard what you just said to her, and she dips out. She fucking leaves.
Oh no!
And
Peace
that
out.
is it.
Anyway,
She's
moving on.
gone.
She's just up and left.
She
Probably
is
going to find
out.
some cult followers.
Oh.
I'm dead.
She just leaves quickly. The Deuce, ladies and gentlemen. Hey,
Coming in hot.
coming in hot. Bashk Trand.
So Bashk quickly turns to his right to intimidate Jathel and realizes that she's now left. So he quickly looks around the room and he actually sees Hannes over there talking to Mitchell's dad.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Although I don't know if you know he's Mitchell's dad. Maybe he is. Mitchell, have you mentioned? Hey, man, my dad's over there.
No, I have not mentioned that.
No, that was that your intimidation check. That's
There
my
was
dad,
probably
guys.
like a look between us that somebody may have picked up on. But
Donnie knows that's Mitchell's dad.
That's
Bashk
true.
has no
Donnie
idea,
does
just
know
some old dude standing over there talking to. But I think he's just gonna like scope out Hannes,
Sure.
and just observe. So let's do a actually, I'm just gonna go out on a limb here. I'm gonna walk over and I'm gonna impress him with my my survival skills. I'm gonna tell a story about me, living in the forest lands, living off the land, and see where that gets us.
Okay, so you approach these two dudes talking, and there's a bunch of other people at Hannes' table too. You are far less socially inept than I ever be. I can't approach a table full of people, but you have just done it. Roll the survival check to talk to Hannes Drelev.
It's a total of 21 on the dice.
Hannes looks at you, and he's like, "Lizard folk, interesting. If my expedition wasn't already full, I might offer you a chance, but you'll probably have to throw in with those over there." And he gestures back to the table you came. He gestures back to the table you came from. But he says, "Look, I might see you out there. I'm leading my own expedition, you see. Yeah, just need the destination. Take those talents. We could use people like you on the Stolen Lands, but there's no room in my expedition." And he claps Charles Groning on the back across from him. It says, "This guy got the last spot."
And everybody in the room heard that, and I get 1 influence point with everyone. Right? That's
I'd give
that's
him
the
an
rule.
influence point if he told me if I didn't hear it.
I'll give you an influence point with Hannes.
Oh, thanks.
But again,
Old Hannes.
you know that he...
Like, do I hear
Probably won't
that?
help
Does Mitchell hear that?
Yeah, I suppose you probably do. Yeah.
Family drama.
Okay, and Mitchell.
I mean, hearing that, yeah, he's kind of torn. Gosh. I don't know what he does.
Yeah, dude, your dad.
Yeah.
He's going to the Stolen Lands.
So I think that further invigorates him to kind of like want to move forward with this. And yeah, he definitely needs to talk to Dad at some point and figure out what's going on here. But he's going to... Oh gosh, I'm trying to think how he does this without like destroying a relationship as well. He's going to kind of lean towards Valerie. We know her name's Valerie now at this point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know everyone's
Right.
at the table.
And kind of make some sidelong looks at the bard over there and be like, that all that art stuff. I just feel like there's no logic structure to it. Like that Shaylin bullshit just pisses me off.
She's like, yeah, no, they only value beauty. They value nothing underneath. I'm going to need you to roll a skill, but I'll give you a low DC on that. Diplomacy probably, I suppose, or something else. But I will lower that DC for you.
Diplomacy?
Or something else. Something else you think that might influence her. Diplomacy is a low DC for her.
Okay. That's also...
But if you got something else, you can roll it.
Like, give me some other ideas. I mean, because what would fit this? I guess I don't know.
You talk to her about anything you want. You can use any skill to talk to her about anything you want. Or
if I'm going off on like how, like it's just engineering is so much smarter than, or just like I can go in like this tangent of like how Shaylin doesn't take any accounting for numbers or logic or physics.
You're like, check out these gears.
Yeah, look at my gears.
Look at my gears.
It's a 4 on the die, so that is a 11 total.
Stab you.
Well, the DC was 13, minus 2 for but minus 2 for Shaylin shit talking, so that edges you into an influence point with Valerie. And you gain an influence point with Valerie, and she's like, "Thank you. I see that you cover your appearance up as well. You must be very beautiful underneath all of that armor, which I think you're not. That's what she tells you.
Wow.
Sirio.
Was that directed at the player or the character?
Oh, I think Brad's a good-looking guy. He does CrossFit. Okay, Sirio, you're up.
I'm going to get up from my table and mosey on up to the front of the room and start chatting up old Yosef.
Oh, Yosef Selemias. Okay.
So, I start talking to him about Rostov, and I'd be like, this is my first time in town. I'm kind of from a bigger city up north. You may have heard of it, New Stetven.
Yes. So, I'm up there all the time, yes. Absolutely, yes. Are you, Sirio Sertova, is it? I think you're probably pretty far removed from our king, wouldn't you say?
A little bit, but the connection's still there. How'd you come to be mayor?
Oh, an election. We do it here a little bit differently, don't we? But
yeah, I was about to say, it's an election. That seems, that's an interesting way to do things, but I can appreciate that. So,
well, there's no divine need to. Mayorships aren't, at least around here, passed down from father to child. We try to pick the best person for the job, but I think you know enough about me to know that I am not inheriting anything. I have to stand for election, as you might have to someday.
So I'm going to try to do a diplomacy check to discover stuff about him.
Sure.
18 on the die, 25.
He's milquetoast, man. He's 9 to 5. He comes in. He does what he's supposed to do. Yeah, he's noble, but, he's probably further away from land acquisition than you are. But that he's got a good reputation. He's wise. He does a good job. And you think that he probably is pretty shrewd politically to have thrown his lot in with Jamandi Aldori, because she's a badass. Okay, round 5, I think this is now.
So any low DC skill checks or any of that?
Diplomacy and Brevoy lore
are
both low DCs for him, 13 and 12 respectively. If you want to keep building influence with Yosef.
Hey, Mike, real quick, are the influence points, are those party-wide or are those individual?
Those are kind of a confluence. It's going to depend on how a couple things go, but I would track them all, and I would track who got influence points with who.
Okay.
We're going to have to re-listen to this.
I got it. You can just read it.
The Deuce.
I'm going to try my luck with Harem.
Harem.
Yeah. Well, we've already kicked, cost one person to leave.
I've already gotten rid of one guy, so I'm working on the whole table here. If we get rid of all of them, then we don't have to deal with them. That's my theory.
What are we at, 4 of 6 or 5 of 6?
So I'm going to roll the religion check.
5 of 6.
What was the DC in the religion check?
Sorry, DC 17 religion check.
Doesn't matter.
What was your result?
I rolled a 2 with a plus 1 to religion, so that's 3.
Okay, Harem is like, you've never heard of Greatest, have you? I'm sure you think you're going to live forever.
You can tell the Deuce has been a loner for a real long time.
Yeah, the Deuce is over here.
He has no social skills.
Socially awkward.
-1 influence with Harem. Thinking, he might not join your team. Let's bring it back over to Bashk. So your penultimate turn.
At least this time, the next target of Bashk didn't walk off from the table, because he was also going to talk to Harem.
Yeah. Harem. Just say Harry with an M on the end.
Harry with an M on it. And he's gonna. I overheard you talking about the end of the world, and I've seen the natural world be taken over by many things that are very unnatural. So I totally see where you're coming from on that, and could see where you get to that point of view, and kind of leans into the conspiracy theory a little bit. And would like to roll a nature check, since we're talking about how the natural world's being. And that is going to be a total of 19.
That's a success. He becomes very interested in what you're talking to, and he begins telling you all about Greatest, how he floats above the boneyard. sometimes Gradus appears very big, sometimes very small. We never know. We never know what's going to happen with him. Is the end here? Is it not? Who knows? But he digs what you're putting down, sort of this comparison of like nature ending versus all life ending. And he's like, it's all the same. You'll understand. You'll see soon. Give yourself an influence point with Herring.
Yeah.
Okay, Mitchell.
Mitchell is going to just scoot down the bench here, the empty spot, and start talking to Tartuccio. Just kind of,
He likes to...
Tartuccio's like, hello. Oh, nice to see you.
Hi, friend.
From the head table, Sirio shouts over, Hey, Mitchell! He loves to be talked down to.
Pat him on the head and tell him you're going to take him under his wing.
Doesn't seem very hard because he's so short. And then look down to Tartuccio.
What did you say?
Just kind of wants to talk magic with him. Kind of a side hobby of Mitchell. Likes to learn about it. Magic is incorporated into.
Yeah, you going Arcana with this guy?
Yep. There's a 16 on the die for a 23.
Oh, you've got a success. Influence point with Tartuccio. He becomes friendlier with you. Make a perception check.
Oh, dear. Oh.
The natural 20 on the die. 23.
Hey.
He's faking it, man. This dude's bad news. He's looking like he's friendly with you. He's talking to you.
And I pick up
but
on
he
this.
doesn't like you.
I'll just scowl and sit back down.
Yeah, you get the feeling, Tartuccio. No friendship here.
So is that
it's really no surprise. I mean, these guys are all jockeying for positions as well, trying to size each other up. You get the feeling Tartuccio isn't interested in following anybody but himself.
Gotcha.
All right. And Sirio, your second to last attempt. What do you do?
Yeah, I'd say, hey, Yosef, nice chatting with you. And come over to this side of the table and start conversing with Jamandi.
Ooh, Jamandi's like, yes, Mr. Sortova. Yes, good to see you. Glad you could make it. How's your father?
He's doing well. He's, back home running the tailoring shop. Business is up. A lot of new customers. And he's kind of ingratiating himself, saying, hey, thank you so much for this invite. I appreciate this opportunity. Yada, yada, yada. Normal press conference type stuff where you thank profusely.
Of course.
I'm going to try to discover something about her.
Okay.
With the diplomacy check. Rolled a 5, adding 7, so 12.
I can't quite give you a success to learn anything about Jamandi on that, but what I will tell you is that she seems relieved to have just one person to focus on right now instead of trying to work the room and pay attention to everything else that's going on. Your attention seems welcome, but yeah, she's all business right now, and she is... what I will tell you is that she really wants this to succeed. There has to be... You don't know what. You can't figure it out, really, just based on this, but politically, she stands to gain a lot from the stolen lands coming under civilized rule. Final round, the Deuce.
So the Deuce is going to get up from where he's sitting, and he's going to meander down.
Struck out with Jathel and Harim.
He's going to sit down across from Lindsay.
Oh yeah.
And he's going to look at her. He's going to look her up and down. He's going to look at her armor.
Are you talking to Valerie, you mean?
No. Wait, Valerie. Where's Valerie at?
Isn't she across from you?
It's the name below the token.
Oh, okay, yeah, Valerie. Sorry,
Valerie.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start talking on. He's gonna look up. He's gonna look up and down her armor.
She's gorgeous.
And he's just, he's gonna look at the armor and see if it's been like worn in battle.
Oh yeah.
And then he's just gonna start talking to her about his time in the Goblin Blood Wars.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, you gonna do warfare?
Yep.
Oh man. All right, man. Roll high.
It's about time. 22.
Oh
nice.
Yeah. Yes, influence gained with Valerie, and I upgraded that to a 24 because you hit a weakness on her. Not enough for a crit though. But yeah, all of a sudden you and Valerie are talking through. She didn't serve in Goblin Blood Wars, obviously, but she has been in a number of smaller expeditions down into the Stolen Lands. She's fought goblins, she's fought kobolds, she's fought, bandits down there. So yeah, she's got some experience, and you can tell that she's a badass. And you see this huge shield that she carries as well, kind of leaned against the back wall. You identify that as belonging to her. And she's happy to visit with you about this stuff. And again, it's the lawlessness that pisses her off. She just wants law and order to fall upon these lands, which is why she signed on to this. Give yourself an influence point with Valerie. That's 2 now total you've earned with her, I believe.
Nice.
Party-wide. Okay. Mitchell. Mitchell.
Isn't it Bash's?
It is Bash's turn.
Ooh, I'm sorry. Bashk Trand.
All good. So yeah, I think he's gonna kind of meander over to Lindsay, all right, the bard.
Yeah.
And he's gonna ask her, about the instrument and how she made that lute. Or did she make it? And maybe do a.
I bought it.
Oh, but you bought it.
At a shop.
He's gonna maybe do a crafting check to talk about, the craftsmanship and what a quality lute it is, if it is.
Interesting. Go for it.
And it's a total of 7, so he probably insulted the shit out of her lute.
No, I don't know who made it either. I don't know anything about it, but it sure sounds good. And she's like, she starts playing a little bit. And, it's pretty hard to screw up with Lindsay. You don't lose any influence with her, not a crit fail. But again, she's just sort of like, you see her, she's following Sirio around. You almost detect a little hero worship coming off of Lindsay towards Sirio at this point.
Okay.
And she is not paying a ton of attention to you.
Gotcha.
As you try to engage her in a conversation about her instrument's craftsmanship. Mitchell.
This is the last round, right?
This is it.
All right.
Thank God.
Yeah, I'm gonna strut back across the room and go and kind of stand behind Hannes.
Do I know Hannes?
I don't know if you know Hannes. You can take this last opportunity and observe him, or
well, I mean, it's kind of because I want to because overhearing my dad joining his expedition, I mean, I want to talk to my dad, but like if Hannes is there, I don't want to be rude. If I know him, be like, hey.
Yeah, I mean, you can roll a quick society check to see if you know of Hannes. I can't give you any discovery stuff with that, but just see what you know about him.
No idea. That's a natural one.
Yeah. So you've never heard of him. I mean, he looks like a fine fellow.
I'll talk right over his head at my father and just like, Dad, you're going on the expedition, huh?
Charles is like, well, I just wanted to do. Son, come over here. And he gestures over here. He takes you to the side of the wall here, and he leaves the table and he gives you the dad hug, and he's like, I can't believe you're here. I thought you were just doing a delivery or something. I can't exactly blame you. I mean, I kind of showed up here too. Son, I'm just trying to do something with the time I have left. What are you doing?
I mean, the same thing. I heard the call, and this sounded like something I should do before. No offense, Dad. I get to your age and regret not doing it.
No offense, son. No offense at all. But look, you got a lot of time left. I don't. So just be careful.
Who's in charge of the BGA? Well, we're gone.
Oh, I must have resigned, I guess. I let someone else handle all that for me. I don't know. I'm not. No, he knows. He tells you his name. I mean, it's not. Right. I don't see it as important right now, story-wise. But yeah, I mean, he's resigned. He has tells you he's liquidated a lot of his possessions, and this is just something really last minute that he's decided to do. He believes in Hannes, and he just wants to do good. Roll a perception check. A very important perception check.
15 on the die.
dude, he wants to try to figure out what happened to your mom all those years ago, and he's not ever going to get that done. Chilling in a city somewhere. He's hitting the road. He's looking for your mom.
Yeah, I think Mitchell would have definitely picked up on that for sure. Okay, I mean, he'll do like the hug, good luck. Maybe see you out there. And as he's walking by, Hannes, just kind of a stern, eye-locking glare. Take care of him. And
Hannes is like, who's that guy? No, he gets it. He understands. He looks at you, and you can tell this seems to be a good dude. He's like, of course, he'll take care of me. And he looks at you, and he's like, you Gears Association fellas are in high demand. He says, a vehicle out there, that's worth everything. He nods at your father, and you realize your father is bringing a vehicle for Hannes's expedition. And that takes us then to Sirio.
All right, we're done with the head table. So we've kind of been feasting and chatting for going on almost 2 hours now.
Yep, this is it. This is the end. You might have had a few drinks at this point.
Yeah,
maybe
at
not.
this point, Sirio's had a few, and I wouldn't say he's stumbling, but he's feeling good, right?
Yeah. Sure.
So yeah,
it's his 21st birthday today.
Yep. He comes up to Tartuccio.
Tartuccio.
And he says, "Hey man, do you want to play a game?"
Oh, I just love games.
All right, stand up right next to me. We're gonna be back to back.
Oh, okay. And he does so, but you can tell he's just like, yeah. I mean, he comes up to your lower back.
And I'm going to call over the Deuce and be like, hey, Deuce, come over here.
I've never seen Bill move a token so fast in my life.
Who is taller? Me or this little guy?
Definitely you. Definitely you. That guy is so short. I'm surprised he can touch the ground with his feet while sitting on the table.
Oh my God.
So yeah, upon hearing this, I proclaim myself the winner, turn around, and say, hey man, I win.
I'm gonna pat Totoro on the head as I walk back to my seat.
There you go.
Get his name wrong on purpose.
Totoro.
Tartuccio stands up on the seat.
Can you tell?
Is he standing up?
Yeah, he does. He stands right up on the seat. He gets face to face with Sirio. And I know we aren't going to curse much on this podcast, but he looks at you dead in the eye and he whispers, "Fuck you." And he sits down.
But he stays.
He stays.
He stays.
What do you got
So
to do
there's
to
a
run people out?
chance.
You're not.
But he stays. That's right. He does not leave.
Yep,
And,
I say, "Okay, buddy," and finish my drink.
Yeah. So he's
And then I
sit
sit down right next to him.
Sit down right next to him. Okay.
Why wouldn't
And I say, "GG."
Good game, kiddo.
GG.
Okay. Well, look. Jamandi Aldori is watching all of this. Not necessarily that interaction overall, but she's kind of, seeing all of this, and the feast comes to an end, and she's like, "My friends," she begins, "I hope you have enjoyed the food and the drink this evening." Her words are quickly met with a round of cheers and the enthusiastic tapping of several dozen mugs and goblets. Yeah, oh yeah. It takes a few moments for the room to go quiet again. Smiling broadly, she continues, "You honor me, truly. But this night is for you. As heroes, you have responded to my call, and I can't wait to hear tales of your exploits in the weeks and the months to come. Tomorrow I shall speak with you all about your individual charters. I suspect it will be a busy day, so I suggest we make an early evening of it. After all, you all have kingdoms to plan." Lady Jamandi's words are met with an even louder round of cheers and drinkware tappings. A few goblets even shatter thanks to overeager hands. Lady Jamandi gestures to the large double doors to the east and the west. "Of course I've arranged bed chambers for all of you. My guards will escort you to them now. I hope you find them restful. We shall speak further tomorrow when we meet back here at sunrise, and the four of you are assigned to this room together that night in the east wing of Jamandi's manor. You see that Maegor Varn and his His colleagues who are going to accompany him actually have different accommodations that night, so she doesn't have to worry about housing them, as does Hannes. So Hannes and Charles Groning both leave along with Hannes's expedition. We didn't talk much about these 4 identically armored dudes in the lower right-hand corner of the map, but these are the Iron Wraiths, these kind of team of Chads that are here. They also have their own accommodations, and they leave. But the 4 of you are taken back to this room where you each collapse upon this bed and no doubt dream of all the dope stuff, I guess, you're going to get into in the morning, and night falls. What are you guys talking about as you're going back to your room together? I can't believe it's so random. The 4 of you guys all in one room together. That's crazy.
I'm weird. Walking young Suryo back because he's a little bit intoxicated.
Yeah,
I don't want him falling into anybody.
Yep, and as we're walking, I'm starting to sing a song that Lindsay taught me that evening.
Fair enough. Yeah, you all get back to this room, and it's just like lights out, and you're sleeping, you're doing your thing, and I need everyone to make a perception check.
I got 21.
It's an 11 for Mitchell.
Sirio got a 20 total.
Bosch got a 26.
It's a good thing Bosch is with you in that room that night. Bosch, you are awakened. This is what you hear. You hear the sound of a door opening. Not necessarily abnormal. You hear footsteps. And then you hear, no. And you hear then a gurgling noise as a body hits the floor. And we'll pick this up again next time.
Oh, come on.
There's been a murder.
Bodies in the floor. I'm curious if out of this evening's, feasting and festivities, if you could make out whose voice that may have been. That'll be interesting.
Thank you for listening to the Zero Check Podcast. Please email your feedback to zerocheckpodcast@gmail.com. Visit our website at zerocheckpodcast.com. All music was composed by Kevin MacLeod and Comtech.com and licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. CreativeCommons.org/licenses/by/3.0. All ambiences were composed by Michael Gelfi Studios, michaelgelfi.com.